How do I make you go away? There's no, like, doesn't say a way to make you go away. Like at all. Oh my god.
Once you stop at Racetrack, no other stop will do.
You upgraded your phone, your headphones, your monitor. But your YouTube player? Still basic.
Time to fix that. Look, volume booster, auto quality, custom speed control.
Picture-in-picture, segment loop or auto replay, cinema mode.
All in one. It's called Tube Hands.
We're on. Instantly powered off. That's cool. Oh, no, we're good. Okay. So it should error out because we just have... Yeah, there we go. We just have the hard drive connected, not the flash drive. Before I risk my flash drive, we'll plug in a keyboard. Okay, it's not working. Likely, I just flipped the data pins because for some reason, it's kind of hotly debated which pins for the data lines that USB's color is going to be. Sometimes it's green and sometimes it's white, and there's like no consensus that I can tell as to which one is which. Because when I look it up, half the time I get the answer, oh, green is minus, and then the other half I'm like, oh, green is plus. So who knows? But in the original video, I did have to flip them. So I will flip them again and hope for the best. All right, pins have been flipped. Let's try again. All right, keyboard in, power on. Do we? No? Nothing? Really? That not good. There we go. Look at that. We can enter keys. Okay, so here's what the problem was. So the pinout of this connector is not actually exactly the same as the one over here from the touchpad. I don't really know why, but it's just not. Like, this doesn't even carry 5 volts at all. I had to end up getting 5 volts from the trackpad. You can see this wire running over here, which is really weird, but it still carries the USB data lines and it has a ground. So I was able to get ground, USB data plus and data minus all from this port, but 5 volts from over here. And the data lines were not even where I thought they were going to be. Shout out to TechNight for figuring out where the actual data plus and data minus were supposed to be, because they were not the same as the trackpad port, which is just weird, but it works. So let's go ahead and put it all back together. Got that breakout board barely fitting right there next to the SSD. Got our USB ports, and look at that, doesn't even bulge. Beautiful. Let's use this bastard. So, in theory, we can just take our little flash drive, stick it in one of them USB ports, turn it on, and there we go. We're booting Ubuntu! Hell yeah. So we'll get into the operating system here, and then I want to see if the touchpad works. Oh my god, I forgot. I have to type the password with the freaking dirty cherry keyboard. No idea why that's the case. Mouse? No! No mouse! How? How could you do this? How could this be? Okay, now I'm really confused. So I've hooked into the touchpad, and I've got it all breadboarded here over to a USB cable that's plugged into this laptop. And if I move the trackpad, it actually moves on the laptop. So clearly the trackpad works, so what the heck? However, after unplugging and plugging the ribbon cable back in like 6 different times, the AMR 4630XXX USB keyboard, that is actually our trackpad. Or at least that's what it showed up as when I did LSUSB on the Chromebook. However, I now have the current issue of it not wanting to boot. I don't know why this happens. Probably the fact that I've got a bootloader on a flash drive and then an OS on a SATA drive. Or the billion reservoir SSD might actually be a piece of crap. And you know, nobody could have seen that coming. But yeah, give me a minute and I'll get this booted. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but look at that. We can move the mouse with the trackpad. Beautiful. Oh, there we go. I gave up booting from the hard drive, so I'm just booting the installer again. But yep, look at that. We're good to go. We got a working trackpad. We got a working keyboard. We have a working keyboard. Don't tell me. Nope, we're good. We are good. See, look at this. Bam. We got 4 functional USB ports. I'm pretty happy with this. All right, the BIOS flasher came in. I've got the BIOS chip hooked up to this absolute octopus of a connection all the way over to my computer. I've dumped my BIOS. Now I'll open up the modded one, and we'll see what happens. And...
I built a Wix website overnight, and it helped launch my career as a sketch artist.
Maybe they didn't remove the BIOS password check? Okay, so it works, but we've got kind of a new problem. Now I can't boot anything. So here's the Ubuntu flash drive. Control-Alt-Delete. And it just goes straight to BIOS. And there's no options, no boot options, no nothing like that. This isn't good for anything. I've tried messing with Secure Boot too, and that doesn't do anything. And there's just like no options. This doesn't do anything. So this is actually worse than the old BIOS. Because not only can I not boot from the hard drive, but I cannot boot from the flash drive. So I don't know why that's the case. Alright, feeling pretty stupid right about now. Because I discovered you can hit escape, quit without saving, yes. And then it will just keep going with the boot process. So never mind, works great. So here it is in kind of its final form. I've got the BIOS password written down on some Kapton tape here because it has a nasty tendency of resetting the BIOS password to default. And since the modded BIOS is a bit screwy, you have to enter this every time you want to boot the computer. But anyway, I've got Kubuntu installed. That's my personal favorite distro to actually just use on my own stuff. And honestly, this thing works like pretty good. Like, yeah, it's a crummy Celeron, and yeah, it's gonna take 10 seconds to launch Firefox. But look at that, I don't know, you open up Reddit, bam, that was quick. Look at this, you can do all your Reddit tasks on this thing. Incredible. And Wi-Fi works fine, which is nice. The one beef I have with this thing, though, is that there's no speakers. There is a headphone jack, which I actually have not even tested, so hold on, I'm gonna test that right now. Yeah, the headphone jack works fine. Even the headset mic works, look at this. But yeah, no internal speakers. I bet you that there is a header on the motherboard for it. And that would be kind of cool to figure out, but I...